Nithyananda, this is Manupama, and so excited to be back again recording a video for the YouTube channel I just started. Today I thought about something, I thought I'd talk about something I'm very passionate about, a newly discovered passion you can say, yoga. One would think, having grown up in India, which is the land of yoga, which is where yoga originated, it's something that we do in school or we grow up learning and doing. But actually, it was only when I started down this path of seeking with Swamiji that I really understood yoga in its full impact. And I've seen such a difference it's made in my life. Especially yoga, the way it is meant to be, the way Shiva, Adi Yogi himself revealed it to the world, which is what Swamiji Paramhamsa Nithyananda is introducing. There's a lot of wrong understanding about yoga, modernizations, and that really don't keep to its authentic spirit. One of the first things I will say is yoga was a pleasant discovery for me because I felt like I had gone through a phase in my seeking where I had worked with my mind as much as I could. And when I started to work with my body, I could see how that directly impacted my mind and my mind working through body. So it created this really beautiful, self-fulfilling circle, which led me to higher and higher, places. So that was the very exciting part about yoga for me. I felt like where my mind couldn't take me, my body was helping me go. And similarly, that put my mind in a better space, and so I could make breakthroughs now. Because when you work with your body, there is just this natural intelligence that starts to flow. Actually, it's very interesting. In one of the inner awakenings, Swamiji said, your body always picks up the highest possible resonance around you. Your mind always picks up the lowest. So it's really nice, especially when you're in a place full of yogis, people, exhibiting all these powers, these shaktis, like we've been talking about on this channel. Your body just picks it up. Your body has a natural intelligence which it starts to radiate. And you don't have to, you can completely shortcut the logical understanding, explanation. Of course, you need to go through some of those initiations that Swamiji gives in Inner Awakening to really experience that. For example, you could go through, we do kirtans here in the Adinam every morning, and at the end of 20 minutes, 30 minutes of dancing, you're in that state, the state, bodha as it's called, you're in a beautiful, blissful state where every cell of your body is just radiating that energy. Once you have those initiations of Swamiji, literally you could be sitting here and you could take your body to that state. Similarly, in yoga, you practice for an hour, you go through your yoga sequence for an hour, and you can see at just being here, you can take yourself to that state just by sheer will. Your body then becomes so in tune, or so much a pure channel that you're able to adjust. And that's been one of the beautiful discoveries for me of yoga. Of course, the way Swamiji has revealed yoga, the way it's actually meant to be, is bliss is the path and the goal, which is yoga is the path and the goal. And so one of the things we do here in Nithyananda Yoga is an intention setting. At the beginning, where you now decide what is it that I want to program my body to be. And when you go through that intention setting exercise and go through your hour or hour and a half of yoga, then the rest of the day, even though you may not be actively thinking about that sankalpa, that intention you have, you'll see your body is now just radiating that energy and causing that reality for you. I mean, how cool is that, And it's such a, as a seeker, we should never overlook that piece. I think, as Swamiji says, and as I've read also in Hinduism, a lot of emphasis has been given towards Vedanta, or having the intellectual or the mind-based understanding and experiences in spirituality, and the importance on the body and working with the body has slowly diminished in the last few years, centuries, which is not how it was in the original Vedic tradition. So again, finding that when you're able to work with your body, this body that you can so now powerfully create different spaces, use to create the reality you want, to manifest the reality you want, and also be in such a space of friendliness. For me, the breakthrough in yoga came when I attended the Nithyananda Yoga teachers training. And that's where I felt that I was able to be in a space of friendliness with my body. It was not about conquering. It was not about saying, yes, I'm going to do it. And the minute that understanding happened, that click happened, I found I could just do asanas, postures that I could never even imagine before. I could suddenly do Shirsasana. I could spend the whole day on doing a headstand today if I wanted to, right? Or all the most complicated of postures just became a friendly, happy way to engage with my body, to play with it, to help it reach into deeper and deeper states of authenticity. It's very beautiful. Swamiji defines, the sweet pain you feel in your body when you've stretched it. He says that is authenticity at the body level. So experiencing that authenticity, taking your body to next levels, and having it now be a pure channel. When Swamiji nowadays is working on all these different shaktis, the powers that manifest from that state of Sadashiva. Not siddhis, which is how yoga by Patanjali defines it, which is through your self-effort on your way to enlightenment, you acquire certain knacks or certain ways of manipulating your body energies or the world around you, so you can perform these miracles, you could call them, right? Or you could perform these super acts. That is the traditional, or what we think of as the traditional definition of yoga. But if you go back to the age of Adi Yogi, Shiva himself, the way yoga is revealed is you are in oneness with Shiva. You are in that consciousness, and now you're just radiating out what is natural to you, right? And so when you do things like third eye reading or remote scanning, materialization, and so many, like 400 powers that are covered in the Agama, 400 shaktis that are covered in the Agama that Swamiji is initiating us into. It just becomes a natural expression of the state you're in. And what's beautiful is it further solidifies you into that state. So it's just a beautiful way. Yoga, working on these shaktis, is a beautiful way of getting deeper and deeper into that state of Shiva and experiencing more and expressing more and more powers, and because of which you get deeper and deeper into that state of Shiva, and you literally spiral yourself out into that implosion, that enlightenment, whatever that takes, wherever that it takes us. Whereas in the traditional definition of yoga, the way Patanjali describes, it's about self-effort. So you're in that space of effort, and really the more you're expressing the siddhi, you get more into ego, because that self-effort is ego, which is why Patanjali and the traditional yoga that we hear about warn about these siddhis, or these special powers that develop, because they act as a distraction to your enlightenment, which is right. When you start to develop these powers based on self-effort, based on your ego, they will take you away from that space of enlightenment. That is not Nithyananda Yoga. That is not yoga as defined by Adi Yogi Shiva himself. That Nithyananda Yoga is about being in the space of Shiva, and then expressing these powers, and then expressing these postures, then expressing whatever comes. And you will see that just leads you further and further into that space of Shiva, into that space of enlightenment. So it's a really blissful feeling. It gives you so much confidence in yourself when you can just work with your body to express, what you want. You can simply, by a simple control of your breath, or a simple will even, just take your emotions, your energies around a huge spectrum, and then decide to stay there and establish it firmer and firmer into your muscle memory. So yoga has just been really fascinating. I've just loved learning Nithyananda Yoga and being an acharya of Nithyananda Yoga. You know how it is when you are an acharya of Paramahamsa Nithyananda, when you're up on stage with him behind you and you're radiating his energy. It's simply an experience beyond words, because in that moment, in those few hours, you are just living him, you are breathing him, you are radiating him, and there's so little of you. As a yogacharya, I feel so powerful in my body. I feel so radiant in the energies, and it feels like every moment is taking me higher and higher into that space of Shiva, establishing it deeper and deeper, not just in my mind, but actually in my body. So tomorrow when I forget, my body is reminding me. My body is taking me back there by default. So I would encourage all of us, all of you, to really try yoga the way it is meant to be, not the way Patanjali taught us, which may have been right for people in his time, but the way yoga was originally revealed to us by Shiva. And that in itself can be a beautiful path that will take us to enlightenment. I'm very excited. We may have shared, there is Sadashiva Home coming up in December. And Swamiji is, of course, taking the program to higher and higher levels. I mean, I can see all the things that are happening, the alchemy products he's working with, even the way that entire structure is being defined, the halls that we will be sitting and meditating in are all per agamas, and they're all designed to completely optimize the energy process that will happen when thousands and thousands of people sit together and meditate in that space of Shiva. So I'm really, really excited to see what Nithyananda Yoga is going to be about. Because if you look at it, all these shaktis that Swamiji is revealing, right, such as the third eye and all the other shaktis he's coming up with, they are all yoga. It is all a part of yoga. Patanjali Yoga Sutras talks about them as siddhis, but it is when you are more and more in union with your deeper and deeper layers. Yoga is what? Yoga is uniting. And when you can be more and more uniting with the deeper and deeper layers of you, this is when these shaktis start to express. That is when your very Shivatva starts to express. So the way I look at it, Sadashiva Home is really about that. It is about yoga. It is about being in yoga to a level that you and I, and in this age and time, we can't even begin to comprehend. So I'm really, really excited. When I get up on stage out there and I'm being a yogi the way Shiva wants me to, with the bhasma and the kumkum and doing the asanas, feels so beautiful. It feels so radiant. It feels like this is what we were meant to be. This is what human bodies were meant to do. This is how we were meant to express. In today's world, I think in the original Gurukul system, or in the Vedic civilization, we had the Purva Mimamsa or Purva Paksha, where before a person started to travel the path of enlightenment, they had certain things that they went through by default, even before the logic started to kick in and say, this is right, this is wrong, I want to do this, I don't. By default, the way the Gurukul kids are growing up right now, they get up at 4:30 in the morning and they do yoga. Right? They do puja, they do chanting. This now just becomes a lifestyle practice for them. Now, it is solidly grounded in enlightenment. It is revealed from an enlightened consciousness, because of which just by following these routines, even though they do not understand maybe the reason or the import behind why it's done, though the Gurukul kids of course do, but I'm talking about as a lifestyle. Even if you don't understand the rationale behind why it was designed the way it was designed, just doing it, doing the action, is taking you into a higher and higher space of enlightenment, is taking you into a higher and higher space of consciousness, is making you more and more powerful, such that when that point happens, when you're ready to go into your spiritual journey, that pratyagatma chaitanya, where you're waking up to the fact of, no, there's more. What am I really seeking? and then you start seeking, then your very body, your actions, your breath, everything is aligned to support you towards your enlightenment. You know, in today's world, it's so sad. The lifestyle practices we have, the food we eat, everything is not aligned to take us naturally towards enlightenment, towards higher states of consciousness, towards bliss, towards fulfillment, towards happiness within ourselves. You know, simple thing, right? When you work hard 5 days a week and then you rest 2 days, the body doesn't function that way. You cannot say, okay, now I'm going to really give it and then give it all I've got, and then 2 days I'm just going to rest and lie on the couch and watch TV and eat potato chips and Monday be back again working. No. You see, in the Gurukul and here in the Adinam, every morning we have yoga. You just go through the routine that you have to go through, and very, very rarely do we actually get exceptions to that. And Swamiji says very beautifully, that is a freedom. You know, when he first said that, I was like, really? Waking up at 5 o'clock every morning and having to do that, you know, because the very environment insists that you go do yoga every morning. And he said, that is a freedom you have to go and do yoga at 5 o'clock every morning. This was a little bit earlier, and I was like, really? Is this a freedom? And now I understand what he means, where thanks to this Purva Mimamsa, because Swamiji has so beautifully designed the lifestyle here towards enlightenment, everything you do here is already pointed and taking you towards enlightenment. So what happens is, just by doing something, even if you don't fully understand the context, you are going there. And it is a freedom, because you may wake up in the morning and say, really, I don't want to wake up right now. I want to sleep in 10 minutes more. But in a higher context, you realize that truly what you want, what your being wants, is to, you know, experience that higher state of consciousness, to experience enlightenment, to be one with Shiva. So at that moment, when you have to wake up, it may not seem like, you know, it's a freedom to you, but to your being, to your highest possible, to your highest possibility, it is a freedom. So I know I've gone all over the place, but there's so much to share. And I'll continue to share on this topic of yoga, because I think in today's world, to today's seeker, it is a very, very relevant and very, very actionable thing, which gives instant results. So I'll continue to share about yoga. I invite all of you to come to Sadashiva Home. It is going to be a breakthrough in revelation of yoga to all of us. I know Swamiji is going to be using alchemy products, you know, things that on every level, on every dimension, whether it's the food you eat or the mandalas and the products that you have, that you hold on to while doing the meditation, the ground you're sitting on, which is prepared per agama, the thousands of people sitting in mandala formation, and of course Swamiji himself there in this beautiful area, which is the Bidadi banyan tree, where you know, so much has happened in this area. Maybe I'll cover that in another video. I know we're getting quite, I mean, it's a little bit late right now. So what I'll do is talk about Bidadi and this beautiful Adinam here in a whole separate video, and go ahead and end this out here. I would urge all of you, try Nithyananda Yoga. It is something you do not want to miss. That experience that you can get in like just 40 minutes of yoga will put you in the highest possibility you can experience in the human body. So with that, thank you for listening. Look forward to talking to you again. Nithyananda.